Merge Mansion is this. Somehow in the past few years, it's managed to sneak its way into success, and a big reason for that is a ridiculously convoluted story for something that, I mean, again, it looks like this. So let's take a look at what exactly makes this franchise so special. Hi everybody, I'm here in a bowling alley. Haven't been to one of these in a while. Last time I did, a ball shot out of those ball things and hit me in the side of the head. And let's just say there's a reason I never sit over there. What do I even say about Merge Mansion? A couple years back, the advertising went viral for reasons we'll get into, but the game itself, it sure is! Merge Mansion takes place in the fictional town of Hopewell Bay. This is a century-old small town that most likely exists on the eastern coast of America based on the climate, culture, and the fact New York City is nearby. The biggest problem I have with Merge Mansion is that it's very artificial when it comes to mystery. For anyone unfamiliar, this is a simplish mobile game with a mystery that in reality is a collection of tiny mysteries that rarely amount to anything. And that's because of the unfathomable nuisance that is Grandma Ursula, who on the exterior is a nice lady who has a pie company, but is absolutely hiding something. Probably within her mouth. Why does her jaw do that? Whenever anything happens, Ursula is responsible to at least some extent, in either causing the event or preventing it from truly being solved. Like, all the marketing is designed to make a big deal about Grandma being this cryptic person, but it'll never amount to anything. She's just pulling all the strings. Grandma and a majority of all characters exist in the Bolton family, a formerly wealthy group with a passion for inventing, and because of it, they were able to afford a mansion. Surely nothing bad's gonna happen to it. Now, besides Grandma, we also have Maddie, another inventor who we follow throughout all this, and when she was young, her parents died. No idea how, because somebody doesn't want to share. This story's gonna start on Maddie's wedding. It fails. Bad wedding. Maddie was gonna marry a guy named Arthur, and while he gets ready, Grandma breaks in, seemingly blackmails him, and writes him out of the story. To make matters worse, her house burns down. To make worse matters worse, Grandma's house burns down. Because even when it comes to losing houses in fire, Grandma will not be one-upped. But you know what? Maybe we might just have a chance when it comes to cooking, in part thanks to today's sponsor, Factor. Now, contrary to popular belief, I need food or else I will starve, and we can't have that. Who else is gonna ramble about the life stories of decade-old children mascots? With Factor, I've been able to get delicious and nutritious meals brought right to my doorstep, which has been a huge help, as being a student and content creator has made it tricky to always guarantee getting a good meal in. Thankfully, with Factor, I've been able to assure that I won't be having ice water and strange berries I find in the woods for dinner anymore. Please don't eat forest berries like I did, trust me on that. Factor has been a huge help for me keeping a schedule and actually knowing what I'm going to be eating later. Now, Factor is able to mitigate the amount of time prepping, cooking, and with cleanup. Within only a few minutes, I've been able to get this tasty stuff right from the package straight to my mouth hole. Just needs some heating up and it's ready to go. Not to mention, the flexibility works wonders. Every week, you can easily change the amount of food provided in the package, ranging anywhere from 4 to 18 weekly meals. There's also no challenge pausing or rescheduling when packages arrive. Same goes with the food contents itself. I've been going for a more protein-oriented selection, but there's also options like keto and vegetarian, making all this even more convenient. And fellas, I got a good deal for you goofballs. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Choopo50 to get 50% off on your first Factor box and 20% off on the next 4 boxes worth of orders. That's code Choopo50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box of orders. Okay, back to the thing. So following the house fire and the wedding falling apart, this is when Grandma reveals the estate the fabled Merge Mansion exists, and it's a wreck. Maddie's gonna have to do a majority of the fixing up on account of the family having nothing of value besides seemingly this building. And this is also the point where the Grandma Gets Arrested ad plays. And I need to be entirely honest, the ads are only kind of helpful. Most of these ads provide only a little bit of value to the greater story, mainly just emphasizing that, hey, Grandma's a little rapscallion. They might not even be fully canon, possibly just an alternate timeline because of how cray-cray it gets. Grandma acts as an entirely different character. In the game, she's vague and unhelpful, but in the ads, she'll casually reveal or do something crazy without flinching. These two don't feel like the same, and the left one looks like a live-action Dr. Seuss character, and I'm sure that little guy in the back of our imaginary classroom has his hand up going,
does that mean that there's a Merge Mansion multiverse?
No, little Johnny, you're out of your goddamn mind if you think I'm gonna chuck a multiverse into Merge Mansion of all things. Merge Mansion has not earned the right to have a multiverse. So here's how I'm gonna implement the ads. I think the game itself takes the POV of Maddie, while the ads take more of a cinematic look, a more objective one. And I don't even know how nobody's figured out Grandma Ursula's bullshit in the ads. Some things she's done include getting arrested in the intro, sneak a file into a pie knowing she was gonna get arrested, has Maddie bring the pie, Grandma breaks out at one point, goes into hiding hiding by the police and seemingly bribes the police. She's shown hiding things, gathering large stocks of weaponry and poisonous foods, has some secret ingredient in her pie, which I would guess is people she's assassinated, but the creators directly support this theory, therefore it's probably not true. That's Secrecy 101. By acknowledging a possibility, that reduces the odds of it being a possibility. Just thinking about it, both major forms of storytelling hardly feel like the same property. The game feels like some sort of average romantic Hallmark movie or a cute soap opera. The ads could be a Blumhouse property in regards to storytelling. You got Pedro Pascal in this. I mean, why are there A-list actors in these? I don't know. Honestly, I don't give too much of a hoot. These things are probably different, but they're both called Merch Mansion. So I'm just gonna say it's the same. So when Maddie and Grandma start cleaning up the mansion, according to the inspector Roddy, if at least an effort is not made, the town has the right to tear it all down on account of the mansion being a public hazard. So Maddie and Grandma, but mostly Maddie, because Grandma does not actually help, she's quite toxic in general, they make necessary payments, and then they all go around the house room by room, renovating every area through genericish puzzle gameplay with text boxes sprinkled level to level. It's through these moments where we meet a whole load of characters, along with learn more about the Bolton Tree family. And this family tree, wow, it sure does exist. Like half the game mystery and reveals in general correlate with this family and the family tree that do justify some of the antics, but also not really. At some point, the family has some sort of pirate background. This would explain Grandma's criminal record. Almost none of these people have pictures, by the way. Now, the oldest named family member is Ignatius Bolton, the one who made the family fortune. Born in 1802, he immigrated to the US and settles in Illinois, marrying a woman named Agatha and becoming insanely rich when inventing the tin can. The couple then have 2 daughters. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, tragedy strikes the Boltons. The first daughter, Clara, falls in love with a sailor, and he leaves her when finding out that all of their family wealth is entirely invested on the mansion or on tin cans. Clara then dies of a broken heart, and her parents get so sad they don't even set up a funeral, and also stop working, leaving the remaining family financially in shambles. So then the second daughter, Lindsay Bolton, in the 1920s, moves to New York for an extended period and eventually clutches up by inventing the spray can, bringing back the family fortune for generations to come. Moving forward, so we can move backward again, there's Grandma's supposedly deceased husband, Charlie. His mom was a codebreaker in World War II, and his grandma was a nurse in World War I. Charlie also had a cousin that they named Skatey Katie, and she invented the skateboard alongside her partner, Casey. On Grandma's end, she had a brother named Leonard, responsible for the conditions of the mansion not being functional and stuff, because he was generally just a bad person. Like, he set up an illegal gambling ring, he had an affair with the former butler, Winston, just a collection of messes that led to this sad husk of a pristine, lovely mansion. Grandma also has a sister named Deb, who's been married at least 4 times, still looking for the perfect man, which probably won't be happening in the retirement home. She looks like she has roughly 16 minutes left. Somehow she does it though, because she nets this guy named Hank. We'll get back to him, but he also has a brother named Michael. One of her other marriages would also result in an unnamed daughter who in current day is with Pearl Wu, and the 2 of them have a kid named Mason. Pearl also has a cousin named Dwayne who never matters. Most of these people never matter. It's just a family tree. Now, Grandma's unknown parents were hesitant to let her marry Charlie, in part to the financial standing, thinking he's not in it for love. Like, he was a carpenter on the poor side of town. They totally had some level of bias. So instead, Ursula almost marries this infamous mob boss, Crutchley, promising additional wealth and to keep them set for life. But that falls through. We never know why, because, again, somebody doesn't like sharing, and Charlie helps her escape the almost marriage. Then, those 2 actually marry, more so just being happy over anything, and seemingly the mob is still after Grandma. Maybe that's why she is the way she is? I'm not ruling out the possibility of Grandma being the Punisher. Grandma, Ursula, and Charlie have a single son named Michael. This is another Michael that's also never shown and hardly important, but this time he is. One day, a new family moves into Hopewell Bay, and Grandma invites them over. This includes a girl named Becky, and Michael and Becky hit it off pretty well, remaining together until they graduate high school. Becky decides to break up when she gets accepted to a European college, but when she returns 1 year after over summer break, she sees that Michael still cares about her deeply. So they get back together, Becky transfers to a local school, they marry, and finally end with the happiest of happy endings. Until they died. Haha, you're an orphan now. Wow, this family tree sure is a family tree. I'm sure Grandma would love to talk about. Nope. Instead, she's gonna continue pretending to help fix up the mansion, which in-universe has taken years. But hey, at least we know there's a very real possibility that Grandma's been conditioned to go up against the Mafia, but we've all been there. Grandpa Charlie might also be alive. The hand thing in that one ad confirms that either Arthur or Charlie are still alive. It's probably Arthur, but still. It seems like Maddie's slowly moving on from probably the worst day of her life. I would say it is. Arthur was probably bad for her. Good thing Grandma's playing matchmaker, really just taking control of Maddie's life. She seems to be pushing for Roddy. He already knows how to treat a woman on account of already being divorced by Detective Kate Sullivan, who investigates much of Grandma's bolting shit. At one point, Grandma gets arrested again for allegedly stealing Charlie's gold watch. Don't think that's very fair, but regardless, they bail her out. This kerfuffle amounts to virtually nothing. At this point, the Boltons have been maintaining exclusively the exterior, and a few more characters make their way into Maddie's life. The family finds and adopts a dog named Rufus. It is a dog, and I'm sure it's very marketable. There's this Masters of Disguise looking guy, Julius. I think he's trying to ask Ursula out. He also drives through the mansion gate, revoking his driver's license. Then there's Jackie. She's a reporter and attempts befriending Maddie. After Grandma's arrest, a marine biologist Emilio shows up for a bit, managing to be in a relationship with Maddie for a hot minute, only for it to end when they go on a double date with Roddy and Jackie, and they break up because Emilio decides to go fishing in Bolivia, probably never returning until the game runs out of ideas and need to bring him back like a soap opera. Love can ruin you, but Bass Pro will never let you down. That's what Hecky knows about. I hope I said that right. I don't care if I didn't. I know there's like 50 million trillion characters, but hey, what are you gonna do? Probably cry. I mean, I would. This is a guy who lives in the lighthouse, is from Finland, and probably has a connection to Charlie. I wish we could ask someone, but unfortunately, much of this game is just story roadblocks that we can hardly whittle at. One day, while tending to the plaza of the mansion, Maddie gets a call from someone who claims to be Charlie. I don't like the implications of that, and neither does Grandma. Maybe they got into a fight, and Grandma just claimed he died. That seems like a way to hide your problems, but then she wouldn't be looking back at the memories fondly. Generally, I just think this was not thought through. The mysteries keep prolonging, and my patience keeps thinning. Oh, also, Deb is relevant now. She moves into town, just like all the other side family members. We don't care. We don't care as much. Deb is on a love quest. She seems like the type to say she would be on a love quest. And again, somehow this ends up with Hank. I'm gonna assume they're meant for each other, though considering both of them were okay with having a wedding where both of them are wearing pink suits. Oh yeah. Also, Grandma's blackmailing Hank now. Great. Right at the wedding, and when one of Deb's ex-husbands gives a horsey named Reggie. So Hank, now he goes missing, and Rufus also will disappear at this point. Instead, the family get a new dog, Goldie. Give it like 2 months, Rufus will come back. Now Michael, Hank's brother Michael, him and Maddie start dating while Hank is still missing. And as this is going on, Jackie starts to take more initiative, looking deeper into the family history, becoming significantly closer with Maddie, much to Grandma's disapproval. We all know where this is going. Grandma's gonna wave the file folder of death. Jackie's entire reality is gonna crumble. And to make matters worse, the city council, the one who wants the mansion torn down for causing more problems than anything, they have a new head of things named Victoria. And while all the Bolton antics are going on, while people are going missing, while Grandma is being an objectively unlikable person, Victoria has been sneaking around trying to find ways to get rid of the home anyway. And as this is happening, no, I'm just kidding. That's the current story. That's everything. Okay. You would think this series, that markets itself as this storytelling mastermind full of secrets and twists and turns, would be this complex story where everything is a plot point and everything comes back with some sort of payoff. No. Not only is this a mobile game, this is a mobile game that doesn't know when it's gonna end. So it's gonna keep the mystery just vague enough, yet just open enough to where they can pump out one more chapter at any moment and end the story if need be. Like, part of me wants to be appalled at this story and how wacky it gets, but not only has uncovering the storylines of moderately popular children's franchise shriveled me from a person I once used to be, but it's also like, I don't think there's enough to warrant this level of complexity. I mean, look at the gameplay. Play the game and tell me this deserves to be held in Shakespearean levels of high regard. Doesn't that look exciting? Merge Mansion has the unpredictability of a graham cracker, but at least you don't need to spend 3 years to make sure it's a graham cracker. Can't do that with Merge Mansion. I'm serious, if this ends up being like a Truman Show situation, where everyone is an actor hired by Grandma, that would be like the only twist that I think would work at this point. I would not be shocked. This is not a story that can warrant a satisfying conclusion. No matter what angle you take, we already know all the routes a story like this can go. Grandma is hiding stuff. Whoa! It's not like that's been established established since day one or anything. And now when the mysteries are eventually revealed, it won't be that crazy because every potential outcome has been shown off. In an attempt to prolong everything, the story beats have been repeated. And now this takes up the same space of my mind that wondering who's gonna end up with who in a sitcom does. This is a sitcom where the main antagonist is built like a nutcracker. All right. Let me be fair. Merge Mansion is designed and promoted in such a way that, objectively speaking, they want the audience to speculate and come up with their own respective ideas. So I'll throw my hat in, give a perspective of what I think is going on, because that's what they want. And it'll be funny if I'm very wrong, and it'll be funnier if I'm very right. So I think Grandma is still wanted by the Mafia. Before marrying Charlie, Ursula almost ended up with Crutchley, and then when Charlie and Ursula bailed them, they put the two of them on the Mafia shit list. I also think this escalates to the greater Bolton family. Leonard ran an illegal gambling ring. A very real chance that there's conflict because of that. Just look at Ignatius Bolton. Look at him and listen to that name and tell me this man volunteered at soup kitchens. No. Mafia. So then Charlie's in hiding, and Grandma has to pretend he's gone. I'm gonna assume that this time they're still wanted, but also wanted to remain discreet. So the Mafia didn't go for the Boltons after the marriage fell through, and only in more recent years when they've become more vulnerable. Maybe that's why Maddie's parents passed away. Mafia takedown. And you know what? Screw it. I'm going the Punisher route. Grandma Ursula is taking down the entire Mafia with her giant collection of knives and hiding the remains in her meat pies. I dare you to try and make up an alternate argument. Do it. I dare you. I dare you! Grandma has full control of everyone and everything, trying to set up Maddie to potentially attain normalcy and bring the family bloodline back on track. Now, regarding Arthur and Hank, both of them were blackmailed at such a level where their first instinct was to go missing. Arthur hasn't shown up in years on account of multiple things. Hank just went missing post-wedding. I don't know why Grandma keeps waiting until the expensive and time-consuming weddings are set up, but she keeps doing it. I hate you. Also, I'm just gonna go with a good old Mafia route once again. Maybe they're associated. Maybe they're gonna harm the Bolton bloodline. Does not matter. Get them out of here. Get all the men out of here. Get all the guys, all the nuisances, all the potential dangers away from Maddie. Make them rot. Make them rot, Grandma. Except Roddy, he can stay. He seems nice. I really hope this ends up being real. If I'm wrong, I want to be unfathomably wrong. Because in that case, I'm still the best at failing, which means I'm still the best at something. Wherever this story proceeds, I will continue to go the Mafia route. I could be proven entirely wrong, I will still go Mafia route. In the end, Merge Mansion is a convoluted story that, in my opinion, does not matter too much. All the story beats have been set up, the specifics maybe haven't, but in the end, I'm not all too sure that's a concern. Just by having the vague idea of where everything's going, nothing matters. Grandma's got like 5 years max until you're in the grave. Please stop existing. Well, folks, I'm gonna actually go play bowling. I'm sure you've noticed the guilt statistic up there. Yeah, not much else to add. Yeah, make sure to unplug your phone. It's good for preserving the battery life. I feel like not enough people think about that, you know? Nothing wrong with leaving it in for a little bit, but there becomes a point where— Whoa! Oh! Never again. Never go into a bowling alley again. I need to leave. This happens every time I come. Never again. I'm clocking out. Bowling alleys, I'm done with them. Bye.